I am Ray Rickman, Executive Director of Stages of Freedom and an adopted son of Providence, Rhode Island. When I was a kid and a real Detroiter, because in Detroit you're a real Detroiter, automobile capital of the world, we used to duck under our big wooden desk. I did a little research. These desks were all put in 1945, 1946 after the war for some reason, but not for the reason I'm about to tell you. So we'd have to get under the desk because we'd do the little nuclear, atomic, whatever. And all the kids in America used to get under the desk. So when the bomb, nuclear, went off in some suburb of Detroit, it never was going to fall on top of the school. It's going to fall in Dearborn or Taylor, Michigan, or someplace, and not in Grosse Pointe, not where the rich people lived. It was going to fall in some suburb, maybe even Ann Arbor, who knows. But we were going to be within 20, 30 miles, and by being under the desk, we were not going to be killed. And one day, my best friend, John Murphy, he's now a judge, but then he was an 8-year-old kid like me, and he was a little chunky, if I might use that word. And one day we're getting under these big wooden desks, and you know what I'm talking about if you're of a certain age. And John realized he couldn't fully get under the desk. So after the exercise, John Murphy, not being brilliant like he was going to be later in life, asked our teacher, Miss Huff, he asked her if he was going to die when the bomb went off because he couldn't get his whole body under the desk. And she yelled at him, "Nobody's going to die. Your whole body doesn't have to be under the desk. Don't you ask that again in front of anybody. If you have something like that to ask, you ask me." And that's her yelling at him. And it was the most fascinating little thing. And then afterwards, I told John, don't worry, we're all going to die if a bomb goes off in Dearborn, Michigan. All of us. Even then, you know, I was me. Now, the other day, my brother was telling me about a teacher who's all upset with him because she has a first grade class, and they're doing the active shooters thing, where the kids have to learn how to run and not hold hands and run for their lives and where they run to and all this. And it's too much for the first graders. And the teacher's supposed to stay with your kids, meaning don't run off and leave them. And while the active shooter's shooting, possibly at you. And she's in the coffee room, teacher's room, and she gets tears in her eyes and actually starts to cry. And she tells my brother, "This isn't fair. You have 6th graders, and they know how to run. And you, being an athletic 59-year-old, you can stay with them and still get out of range. But my little first graders are going to do silly things, run in the wrong direction, try to hold hands with their best friend, and I'm going to get killed." And she's upset with him. And then she says, "What is to be done about this? Because this active shooter training isn't going to work." And I wrote her a little note, postcard. I love postcards, and I love to send them to people. And I said, "Would you please join the battle against assault weapons? Because if an active shooter, mentally ill or not, just viciously angry, comes to your building and starts shooting with a 6-shooter, he may kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 children, 1 adult. But without an assault weapon, he's not going to kill 30 kids in your class. So would you please join the effort to ban assault weapons in this country?"